everybody. Welcome back to the High Roller Sports Betting Podcast with Coach and T here. Today we're going to talk a little NFL football. NFL for me is really fun. I really enjoy having money on the line on Sundays and watching teams play and really analyzing the games. And it just makes watching an NFL game, that experience, just that much more pleasurable. And I think it can be very profitable to you as well. And what T and I are going to talk about today is really some of the preseason numbers that we see of teams that are going to win the division, or what their odds are to win the division, and some overall over and under numbers for their win totals as well. I think there is some value out there that you can find, but once again, these are areas where you really want to shop lines, don't you, T?
Yeah, absolutely.
You really want to check your casinos out, see which ones are giving you the best lines possible so that you can maximize your profits on this, because it is an area where you will see a lot of difference from casino. Well, you won't see a big difference, but you will find some difference from casino to casino. And a little bit about how I break things down. I do my own power rankings. I do each team, and what I really take into consideration, I think some of the big factors. Number one, quarterback. Quarterback in the NFL is a lot. You're just not going to win ball games in the NFL if you don't have a quarterback that can flat out play. Another thing I take into considerations are the offensive and defensive line. Well, I take overall talent into consideration. In today's game, I really feel it's, do you have a quarterback? Can you protect the quarterback? Can you get after the quarterback? And I think everything else falls into play. Coaching staffs and their continuity with the front office, I think, comes into play as well. But I've seen great quarterbacks. Tom Brady throughout the years has had good talent at his pass catching spots. But, it was James White who set Super Bowl records when they played in the Super Bowl and came back on Atlanta. So I've seen, good NFL players become great NFL players, especially when they got the right play caller and the right coach. Do a little breakdown on how you break things down. Just kind of hit the high points.
So I do it a little bit differently. Some of the things that I really take into consideration, I agree with the quarterback, O-line, D-line being very important in the NFL. One of the things that you always hear is you can't handicap turnovers, and while that's true, to me, because so many games in the NFL are decided by one score or around one score, if you turn the ball over and you have players who are more likely to turn the ball over, that's something I take into account. Another one, penalties. And a lot of that goes back to coaching staff and discipline and stuff like that. But if you're a highly penalized offense, penalties just kill drives.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's tough to put up those points if every time you go on a drive, all of a sudden there's a hold, 10-yard penalty. Now you're 1st and 20 instead of 1st and 10 or 2nd and 6 or 7 if you run the ball. But then skill position I think is important. But I think, to your point, the quarterback can really make the wide receiver group. The O-line can really help with all that as well, because if you give a quarterback time, a lot of these guys are talented. I mean, and we'll get into it, Justin Fields in Chicago is talented, but he's always running for his life.
Yeah.
That leads to him having more interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And we'll get into each one of those areas get into more detail as we go along with this podcast. With that, let's move on to the AFC South, where, in my humble opinion, and one full disclosure, being a Wisconsin alum, I absolutely love Jonathan Taylor. I think he is one of 3 players right now in the NFL that, on the offensive side, that is not a quarterback that you have to take into consideration when you are judging the talent of a team, and mainly because his ability to break away runs, he's got that home run speed, along with the ability to take a lot of punishment. Jonathan Taylor is a difference maker. He's one of the few non-quarterbacks I think has a chance to win an MVP, and he is, along with their O-line, the main reason why I think the Colts should win the division. I have them winning it over the Titans, and they also play in the worst division where you have the Jaguars and the Texans, and I mean that's just 4 wins right there. So that being said, I actually like the Titans to make the playoffs as well, but I just think the Colts win 1 or 2 more games, eke it out. And I think Taylor is just that much better than Derrick Henry, who is the second individual that I think you have to take into consideration and really value. I think Matt Ryan, being a Colt this year, will come in and really help the Colts and stabilize that quarterback position. I have Matt Ryan being a middle-of-the-road quarterback, and that's why I don't know that the Colts can get to a Super Bowl, but I think they've got a lot of pieces that I really like. So, to me, take the Colts. I'm looking at the Colts being another one that are plus 130, if you can find that number.
Plus 130?
No, excuse me, minus 130. I don't know.
I wish they were plus 130.
I wish they were plus. I actually thought it was plus 130. I like that number. I thought there was value there. And minus 130, I'm not so jumping for joy about that value, but I do think they win. How do you look at the AFC South there, T?
I would agree. I think it's the Colts' division to lose. It really is a 2-team race between the Colts and the Titans. It's kind of similar play styles. Both going to run the ball. I'm not crazy about what the Titans have done on at the wide receiver, getting rid of A.J. Brown. It makes your offense even more one-dimensional. I mean, they were already 24th in the NFL last year in passing.
Yeah.
But when you get rid of weapons, and again, being Wisconsin guys, when you load the box, you just see it every Saturday with Badger games.
Yeah, tough to run. You got to be able to pass sometimes. That play-action pass has to be good. And that's why I like Matt Ryan over Tannehill.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
But to me, the biggest difference between the Colts and the Titans is the defense. I really like the Colts defense.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to propel them. I do have the Colts winning this division. I wish that it was a little bit closer to even money on the Colts, because I do think that they take this.
Yeah.
The Jaguars, I'm interested to see Trevor Lawrence's next step, because I do think he's got a shot to be good.
Yeah.
And getting ETN back at running back will help, because the Jags were they were 32nd in scoring offense last year. They only averaged about just under 15 points a game.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to win NFL games like that.
Yeah. Not unless you got the Bears 84 defense.
Or you play the Texans twice, you might win there.
Yeah, that's true.
The Texans
are abysmal.
They're not good.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't good last year. I don't have them being very good this year. This division truly is. You've got 2 teams that have a chance to make the postseason. You've got two teams that have a chance to win the division. The other two they'll be vying for the number 1 overall draft pick.
Yep, C.J. Stroud. Or the right to trade C.J. Stroud to the team that wants him the most.